Hello everyone, welcome to Edupedia World. I am C. Radhika Singhal. So in the earlier class of cost of capital, we have already started how to compute cost of equity, preference share and debentures. Only one cost is left, that is cost of retained earnings. Retained earnings, as we discussed earlier, who has expectation of return earnings? The equity shareholder, because it's their income which is retained into the business and not distributed to them as dividends. So the expectation of equity shareholder will be same as for retained earnings. This will not be the case that my KE will be 16%, but for the retained earnings that you have retained into the business, I'm happy with 10%, or the equity shareholders expend 17% from those. No. So the cost of retained earning or the expectation, that is KE, is equal to the cost of retained earnings. So why we are computing retained earnings and equity as different? This is because equity shareholders or the equity shares are issued into the business. So there is some net proceeds which we take as denominator. Since the retained earnings, they are not issued, they are from the company. The computation of KRE, we take market value of the share as denominator. So cost of retained earnings, the method of computing cost of retained earning is same as the way we computed cost of equity. Now there are various models. There are various models because the equity shareholder do not have any fixed expectations. So likewise we are going to compute cost of retained earnings. The only difference is that the denominator will always be the market value of the share. So whatever models that we have studied to compute cost of equity, we are going to compute the cost of retained earnings in the same way. So for dividend price model, KRE will be dividend per share divided by market value of the share. Earning price model, your cost of retained earning is earning price per share divided by market value of the share. Dividend growth model is same, that is your dividend which is to be paid at the end of the year. No, that is year 1 divided by the market value of the share plus growth, and CAPM is risk free plus premium value plus multiplied by beta. So in this way we have learned how to compute specific cost for each source of fund. And the management requires that what is the overall cost to the company for raising these funds. Management is least interested in knowing that how much a specific source will cost the company. The management is more interested that in raising the total funds to the company, what is the overall cost for the company. So whatever example, if you remember that I have taken in the first lecture for cost of capital, I just started retained earnings. I have taken a 100 lakh company with different sources of finance. Each source of finance has its own cost. So let's say that the cost of equity share is 15%, retained earning is 10%. Now there's one question. Why retained earnings is less than cost of equity? This is because for issuing of shares, there is some flotation cost which the company has to bear. Right? So for KE, in the denominator there is some net of flotation cost. There is some net proceeds. So KE is an expensive source of finance as compared to the retained earnings, and that's why KE is more than KRE. So moving further, let's say preference share is 12% and cost of debt is 9%. Now if I have to compute for raising this 100 lakh finance company, what is the total cost that the company has to bear? How will you compute the overall cost for all these sources of funds? We have the specific cost, like for equity is 15 and for different sources there is a different source. To compute what is the overall cost for this 100 lakh funds, how will you compute it? Is it like that you will total specific cost? No, because this is 15% of 50 lakh. And 50 lakh is only the 50%, that is equity shareholder is 50 lakh out of the 100 lakh capital structure. So we cannot even like compute the simple average like 46 divided by 4. So that is not also the case, right? In order to compute the overall cost to the company, we have to see what is the portion of that cost. Like equity share capital, if you can observe, that is 50% of the total funds. So 15% into 50%, that is 15% into the portion of equity share capital, that is 50 lakh, divided by 100 lakh is the cost for equity, right? In the same way, we will going to compute the cost for specific source with respect to their total funds to the company. So in order to compute the overall cost to the company in the example that I've just discussed, we will compute that how much that cost, the portion of that cost in comparison to the overall funds to the company. What is the weightage of that source of finance? So here we have equity 50 lakhs for 100 multiplied by 15%. So that is the share for cost of equity for the total funds. Likewise, cost of retained earnings is 25 lakhs divided by 100 lakh multiplied by 10%. In the same way, we are going to compute the cost of preference share and cost of debentures. So it's 7.5, 2.5, 1.80 is the cost of preference share and 0.90 is the cost of debt. So debt is 10 lakh. So though the cost is 9%, but overall for the company it is 0.90% because out of 100 lakh you have just paid 10 lakh out of debentures. So for the company it is 0.9%. So overall cost to the company in this example will be 12.70%. So in short, what we did is just to compute the weighted average cost of capital. So this is called as weighted average cost to the capital because we have taken the weights, that how much proportion of that source is there in comparison to the total proportion or the total funds. So this is very logical, this is very simple because we all know we have already computed weighted average cost of capital since our 11th and 12th class. Still I mentioned the steps, but there is no funda in these steps. It's a very simple portion, that specific cost multiplied by the proportion after the total funds. This is the way we compute total cost of the capital. Total cost of the capital is denoted by KO. So this is something really important. I'm just mentioning it again. We've already discussed these notes for computation of cost of debt, equity and preference share. I'm just repeating it because if you ignore these things, you will not able to attempt your answer well. You will make some mistake. Just note this thing again, that in order to compute the specific cost, we always take the net proceeds. We give the preference to net proceeds as a denominator first, and that will be always net of flotation cost. In case net proceeds is not available, we will take the market value, and if market value is not available, then we will take the book value of the security. In the same way, if the cum dividend or cum interest value of a security is given, so in order to compute the cost of that specific source, we will exclude that portion, that is interest or the dividend portion, in order to compute the specific cost of capital. So this is all about weighted average cost of capital. That is, weighted is the overall cost to the company. Now marginal cost of capital. Marginal means additional. For example, you have a company and you already have 100 lakh rupees. Say 1 CR funds you already have. You additionally raised 20 lakh rupees. You are in need of 20 lakh rupees. So what will be the cost of that raising that 20 lakh rupees is your marginal or the additional cost. There is some cost for 100 lakh rupees. That is irrelevant. What will be the cost of raising that additional funds is called as marginal cost of capital. So for computing marginal cost of capital, the existing cost is irrelevant. We just need the cost of raising the additional funds to the company. So in order to compute the additional cost, we will take the future or whatever our target weights are given. See, if I say my target debt to value ratio is 20 to 100%, that means the debt ratio, your debt out of the total funds will always be 20 and your equity will consist of 80. So the weights are taken only of the additional sources of finance, irrespective what is your capital structure as of now. This is really confusing. To make it clear, let's understand it with the help of an example. A company has a debt of 14%. A company has a debt means this is an existing source of finance. We do not need to consider it all. it can raise a fresh debt of 12.5%. The company is in a tax bracket of 35%. The company plans to pay rupees 4 per share as dividend in the next year. The DPS of the company is expected to grow at a rate of 8% per annum. The current MPS of the company equity share is rupees 40 per share. So all these information is quite familiar to you because basis this information we have already computed the respective sources of capital. Now there's one new information. The target debt to value ratio is 20%. Debt to value means debt upon total funds. So in the question has specified that whatever additional funds that you are going to raise into the business or raise in the future, the debt portion will be 20 and your equity is the balance, that is 80. That means out of 100 rupees. So if you are going to raise 100 in future, out of 100, 20 will be equity. 20 will be debt and 80 will be equity. This means that though you are going to procure the funds at the cheapest cost, at the minimum cost as possible, but you have to maintain the capital structure also. So that capital structure will be 20:80 ratio. That has to be maintained. So you already have the target weights. Perfect. So let's solve this question that in order to compute the cost of debt, 14% is irrelevant because that is the cost of the existing fund. To compute cost of debt is 12.5 into 1 minus, that is net of tax, divided by 100, that is 8.125%. Cost of equity will be using Gordon model, that will be 18%. You already have the target weights. We are not going to consider that what exactly is the proportion, that is the existing proportion of debt and equity. We are only going to consider weights in the future, that is whatever additional sources of finance that you are going to procure, what will be their proportion. So the weight is 20:80. In this way we are going to compute the overall cost of the company. So KU is 16.025%. Let's do one more example. In this I have taken all debt, preferential and equity. So all the one that I have highlighted in the blue, they are the important things that you have to note. X Limited is planning on rupees 10 crore expansion. So in this question I have already specified that how much additional finance has to be raised. The expansion will be financed in part with the debt issued with a coupon rate of 15%. The bond have a 10 years maturity and rupees 1000 face value and receive rupees 990 after issue cost. So this is the way we compute the redeemable debentures cost. Preference share capital will cost 14%. The company paid an equity dividend of rupees 2 per share last year. The current market price is rupees 15 per share and the new share can be sold at net of rupees 14 per share. Perfect. So this information is the same way we have for the earlier illustrations also. The company dividend are expected to increase at an annual growth rate of 5%. X Limited also expects to have rupees 2 crore of retained earnings available to finance the expansion. So you also have an information of KRE. The company target capital structure is 20% debt, preferred stock 5% and equity 75%. Now what is the proportion of retained earnings? There is no specific proportion for retained earnings. Retained earnings are a part of equity. So 75% means equity plus retained earnings. And you have to compute the weighted average cost of capital. So let's solve this question. How much is the additional funds required? 10 crore. What was the target capital structure? Debt 20%. So for 10 crore, at least 2 crore will be debt. 50 lakhs will be preferred stock and the balance 75% will be equity. So accordingly I have bifurcated, like debt will be 2 crore, preferred 50 lakhs and equity share is 7.5 crore. So as I told you, equity share capital consists of retained earnings as well. And which one is the cheapest source of finance? Retained earnings. So for 7.5 crore, we will first utilize our retained earnings. and then we are going to utilize, and then we are going to raise the fresh source of finance. So retained earnings, already company has 2 CR. That means we have to just raise 5.5 CR for equity share capital. So cost of debt is 2 CR. So for 2 CR, cost of debt will be 150 into 1 minus 1.40 plus redeemable value less net proceeds divided by the lifespan of this particular share, that is lifespan of the debentures that we are going to issue. So let's compute cost of debt. For 1000 rupees face value share, 15% is the coupon rate. Interest will be 150 net of tax plus redeemable value less net proceeds, that is because that is the extra loss to the company in redeeming the debt debentures, divided by the lifespan of debentures divided by the average of the net proceeds and redeemable value. So cost of debt is 9.95%. Cost of preference share is 14%. Cost of retained earnings. So there it is mentioned that 2 rupees expected dividend. 2 into 1.05, 5% is the growth rate, divided by the market value of the share plus growth. So cost of retained earnings is 19%. Cost of equity is 20%. I'm not discussing it in detail because we have already started how to compute these respective costs. So in order to compute the cost of equity, that is the overall cost to the company, respective cost into their weights. So 9.5 into 2 CR by 10 CR, 14% that is preference share weight, 19% is the cost of retained earnings, 2 CR that we have into the business, we have used cost of retained earnings. Now you can observe that. So basis the information given, we can compute the respective cost. I'm not going to discuss this in detail because in the last classes or in the earlier classes we have already discussed how to compute the respective cost. So cost of debt will be 9.15%. Cost of preference share is 14%. Cost of retained earnings. So let's get back to the question again. Yes. Cost of retained earnings. What will be the denominator? The current market price is rupees 15 per share and the new share can be sold at net of rupees 14. So we are going to take 14 or 15. 15. 14 is the net price that you are going to receive in raising new funds. So we are going to take rupees 14 as a denominator and not rupees 15. However, in order to compute cost of equity, we are going to take rupees 14 as denominator. So cost of retained earning will be 19% and cost of equity, what is the denominator? Denominator will be net proceeds. So 14. Cost of equity is 20%. We are going to take the weights, that is the target weights for the company, and we are going to compute the overall cost to the company. So KO is 17.33%. Thank you so much. That's all for today. In the next class, we are going to study how to compute marginal cost of capital. We are going to do few examples and some balance concepts. Thank you so much.